Hello, welcome. This is Soboma Wokoma, and you're welcome to Empower Your Money and the Dot Money brand. I want to talk to you real quick about how to use a credit card. Now you have a credit card, you probably have owned it for a few months to several years, and you want to get better at using your credit card, how to better use your credit card. There is a strategy to using a credit card responsibly. There are strategies, in fact, not just one strategy, but I am going to lay out to you a coherent strategy on how to use your credit cards responsibly. My goal and my strategy is to pay the minimum possible interest on your credit card in a year and get the maximum perks and rewards on your credit card in a year so that you have a net income from using a credit card. And so that is my strategy, and that's what I'm going to walk you through. The first thing is this: never use a credit card until you really need to use a credit card. You don't just use a credit card just because you feel like spending money. We understand, yeah, at Empower Your Money, that the money on your credit card, it's not yours. The money on your credit card is not yours. You just have it in your possession. And so we strongly recommend that you do not spend your credit card. You don't spend it or you don't use it except you really need to. If you need to buy something, go ahead and sleep over it. Think about it before you go ahead and swipe your card. It's the key to spending responsibly, spending time, taking time to really think before you spend. Now, there's a statistic out there that 55% of Americans carry a balance on their credit card. 55% of America carry a balance on their credit card. And what we mean by this is that they carry a revolving balance on their credit card month to month. And that is where interest begin to accumulate. And that's what we want to try to work on. We want to work on spending the least amount on interest and get the most amount of money on our rewards. The second thing you want to do is make sure you're not opening credit cards for just trivial reasons. If you go to some of the stores and you want to buy something, or you buy something you're trying to check out, they offer you a credit card and offer you 20% savings on your purchase if you open a credit card today. Now you want to ask yourself, what do you stand to gain and what do you stand to lose? If you're buying anything worth $100, even $200, I mean, whatever the dollar amount is, do the quick math and say they give you 20% on that. On a $100 purchase, that would be $20 given to you immediately. Is that deserving of a credit check on your credit? Is that deserving of an increased credit line on your account? Do you it's trivial to do that. There are times when you may need to do that, and we'll walk you through that. But it's advisable that you do not open a credit card just because you are offered a credit card. You want to make sure that you are strategically looking at yourself, looking at the way you live, and picking and choosing the companies or the stores that you want to have a credit card at. Take, for instance, if you have growing kids, if you have kids between the age of 1 and 10, these kids play out a lot. They probably wear a lot of, daily clothes or play clothes. My son breaks his pants every 2 days. You buy him a brand new pant today, in 2 days it's broken at the knee. So we typically, buy a lot of outdoors clothes for them. Now, if you do your shopping monthly or you do your shopping bi-monthly or whatever, you may ask yourself, if I have 5 kids or 4 kids, if I go out and I buy clothes for the summer months for them, I may spend up to $700 or $600 depending on how many kids you have and how your finances are set up. It may be worth it to get a card in that situation where they give you a 20% back. Of course, after you've gotten the sales and the discounts on the items, getting an extra 20% can add to your savings and cumulatively help you to save as much as $200 over a $700 purchase. But these are strategies that you can use in those instances, but not just walking out and everywhere you go to, you try to save every $5 a year, every $10 a year. It doesn't work well. In the long run, it affects your credit negatively. And so you want to make sure that you're opening credit cards only when you need them. Don't spend your credit card unwisely. Do not open credit cards trivially. Make sure that you're planning and strategizing any credit cards you open are part or help your plan and help your financial plan and your goal. The third thing is this: you want to make sure that you don't pay just the minimum balance. This minimum balance is a trap that you need to make sure you're not falling into credit cards. Companies, that's how they make money, and making you pay the most in interest. And so you want to do the opposite of that. You want to pay the least in interest. So what you want to do is make sure that you always pay off your balance. Always pay off your balance. If you follow the first rule to make sure that you don't swipe your credit card except you need to, then those things that you spend on your credit card are things that you need, like your utility bills or your food, groceries, gas. These are things that you would spend whether you're using a credit card or whether or not you're taking cash or using the envelope method, whatever you're going to use, you will still spend. These are things that you will spend your money on. So when you put it on the credit card, make sure that you pay this back and don't carry a balance, because you still would have paid cash for it if you weren't using a credit card. So make sure that you don't keep a balance when you're using it for the everyday things and everyday items that you use the credit card for. So make sure you don't carry a balance. Make sure you pay it off. Now, there's an interesting thing about knowing when to pay off your credit card. So it's one thing to have the will, it's one thing to have the money and the ability to pay off your revolving credit card balance before your credit, your due date. But it's another thing to know how to time it to make sure that you're paying on the right day, because credit cards companies give you what they call a due date. You are expected to pay off your balance or pay something towards your balance by the due date. If you do that, you pay the minimum balance by the due date, you're in right standing, you're in good standing according to the bank, and then they send that information to the credit bureaus, and that goes on your file for prompt payment. Now, because you pay promptly don't mean that you're paying wisely. You want to make sure that you're not just paying the minimum balance, which if you do, you're just paying the minimum balance requested by the company and end up paying a lot of interest. But also paying everything, even when you have the money to pay everything, you want to make sure that you are paying at least 3 days before your due date. 3 days before your due date. This will give it enough time for the transactions to go through and register to your credit provider, so that they see that you have paid off your balance before your due date or by your due date, so that that is reported to the credit card companies, so that you have a positive report. If you do not do that, even though you end up paying everything off maybe a day or two later than that, what is actually reported to the credit bureaus is what you owed at your due date. So you want to make sure that you are timing this. How can you make this work for you? If you get your pay 2 days or even the day or a day after your due date, credit card due date, you can call your credit card company, have them restructure or shift or reschedule your due date to suit your income, to suit when you receive your pay. That way, you're always sure to get your income before your due date on your credit card is, and then you can end up paying, and then make sure you're on sync, and then you're not registering a balance on your due date on your billing circle. So these are 3 strategies that I wanted to share with you on this video on how to use your credit card responsibly. There are several other tools that I'm going to be sharing with you in further videos, but I want to encourage you to go to our website and empoweryourmoney.com. Email us at empoweryourmoneynow@gmail.com. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, and still stay tuned to our next video. Thank you very much.